Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the third part of my video series in which I show you the details of my preparation to my first ever half Ironman coming late September this year. In the first video I gave you some background on myself, and in the second one I shared my experience with the Olympic distance virtual triathlon I did last week. If you haven't seen the videos and you'd like to catch up a bit, you can find the links in the description below. But now, on to this week's topic, my training plan for the IRONMAN 70.3. For those of you who don't know exactly what an IRONMAN 70.3 is, it is a triathlon race that includes a 1.9k swim, a 90k bike and a 21.1k run back to back. So that's what I'm going to be training for in the next 18 weeks. I did 3 sprint triathlons last year, which means there was a 750 meters swim, a 20k bike and a 5k run. Also, as I mentioned before, I did an Olympic distance virtual triathlon last week, which included a 3k run instead of the 1.5k swim. Then there was a 40k bike and a 10k run right after that. If you compare the numbers, you can see that there is a significant jump in the distance to be covered from sprint to Olympic and then to half Ironman, which is more than 4 times longer than a sprint. And that takes quite a lot of training to get prepared for. Let's talk about the 3 components separately now, starting with the swim. At the moment of recording this video, the swimming pools are closed in Ireland and they will stay closed until the 10th of August based on the plans for easing restrictions announced by the government. So swimming pools are a big no-no. But from the 18th of May, public beaches reopen and you can do any sort of exercise in groups smaller than 4 people, so open water swim should be back on the table, but more about that in next week's video. Until now, all I could do was some dryland swim practice and strengthening, which is supposed to help me maintaining or even improving my technique and strengthen the muscles involved with swimming, like my arms, back and core. I've been doing a few basic exercises 2-3 times a week ever since the lockdown started, and I can only hope that when I get back in the water, hopefully next week, I won't be much slower because, to be honest, I was slow enough already before the swimming pools closed. So I'll report on how my first swim went in the next video. I plan on swimming at least 2 or maybe 3 times a week in the sea, starting with a couple of 100 meters at first and then build up the distance to around 3000 meters in the next couple of months. But I'd like to keep a few of the dryland exercises as part of my strength routine because I believe I can benefit a lot from doing them regularly. Onto the bike. I've been mostly spinning on my turbo trainer at home, and that's not going to change that much as we still have restrictions in place, so we cannot go any further than 5 kilometers from our home for the purpose of exercise. Luckily, there is more than one beach within that 5k radius where I can go to swim, and running is no problem either, but cycling in town on busy roads is not one of my favorite things to do for obvious reasons. So it leaves me with the turbo either inside the apartment or outside on the deck when the weather is nice. I plan to do 3 sessions a week. There will be one long bike starting from around 1 hour and 30 minutes at the beginning all the way up to around 4 hours by the end of this training block. Second, in spite of all the disadvantages of in-town cycling, I would still like to have 1 session a week out on the road just to get used to controlling and managing the bike in a real-life scenario, and I'd like to practice short intervals with higher power and speed as well. I'll probably have to do it on Saturday mornings when the traffic is not that bad. And the third bike of the week would be done on the turbo again with a run straight off the bike. So this would be my brick workout, which is great for your legs to learn how to handle the load and the gravity and all that after getting off your bike, as it happens in an actual triathlon. So that leads me to my run training, which will again include 3 runs a week. I already mentioned the brick session, which I would do every Tuesday, running off the bike with a few higher speed intervals maybe, but nothing too crazy. My other 2 runs will be longer and lower intensity runs, as I realized I need to build up the distance slowly and gradually, and I don't want to get injured in the process. I have to force myself to slow down. Not that I'm any fast to begin with, but I have to really slow down and do hundreds of low intensity, low heart rate miles to build up the aerobic motor which is necessary for endurance events like an IRONMAN 70.3. Only in the last 6 weeks of this block I will incorporate more speed and track runs into my routine just to make myself a tiny bit faster come race day. We'll see how it works. And last but not least, I'd like to do 2 strength workouts a week, including all sorts of exercises I can do at home, as gyms remain closed until the 10th of August as well. So I will be focusing on leg, core and shoulder strength. Oh, and there is mobility and stretching as well, which should help me avoiding injuries. I do yoga once or twice a week and foam rolling almost every day because of my hips and quads can get quite tense after a long run or bike ride, and I really have to pay attention to my plantar fascia and calf stretching because of the increased run mileage will beat up my feet, and that I learned from experience already. And I don't even mention my rotator cuffs, which have been sore for years, but with a little bit of care, which means stretching and strengthening, I can manage to stay pain-free for 99% of the time. Again, we will see how getting back in the water and increasing my swim distance will affect the shoulders. All in all, it's a very complex routine made up of all sorts of workouts and exercises. I'll increase my mileage week by week gradually to reach and go beyond the distance you are required to do in all 3 components of the triathlon: the swim, the bike and the run as well. It's gonna take up much of my free time, but at least I have all the time in the world now, as my business is basically on life support until mid-August, when weddings might get the green light in Ireland again. So I'm pretty sure I can put in all the work I need in order to prepare for the half Ironman race on the 20th of September 2020. And if for whatever reason I cannot make it to Italy, or if they cancel the race altogether, I still can and will do the distance on my own here in Galway with the help of a few friends, hopefully. At least that's the plan for now, but none of it is written in stone. Everything is flexible and can be changed down the road. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think of my plan. Any feedback is welcome, just leave a comment below. If you like this video or want to see my review of the DJI Osmo Action Camera later on this week, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, see you next time.